Oh,
Okay.
gosh. All right.
The third race of the season is concluded. Japanese
Japanese
Grand Prix,
Grand Prix, and it was
a sleeper.
boring. It was really boring.
I mean, the up at the front. So Max Verstappen won, which is why I'm wearing the Max Verstappen hoodie.
Of course.
And we got the Red Bull jacket here. His first win of the season.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy, actually.
we've had 3 different race winners now in 3 races so far of the season.
Oh my
Lando,
gosh.
Piastri, Max.
Max and Lando are only 1 point away too now as drivers champions.
Wow. So it's a tight one.
So it's exciting for the season as a whole, but as a race, and we know this though that Suzuka is not a place where a lot of overtakes, where a lot of action is usually happening. So, um, Austin's eating a
Yeah. Go ahead.
cough drop. I guess I should probably explain my outfit for the audio only listeners. It's a bit confusing. I have switched sides, which I will get into. But not really. I mean, just logistically, because of how terrible my fantasy team was doing, I'm now repping a McLaren. Oh, you can't really see it. A McLaren shirt. Still the Ferrari hat though, because that is my passion team. Um, I wish my passion could be in my Formula 1 fantasy team. Maybe it should be. Maybe it would be more fun, but notably, this week I changed my entire team. I used my wild card chip, which allows you to redo the whole team, not taking any negatives from transfers. And
You
it
did
was
good.
kind of worth it.
You did
I
really
got
good.
second this week out of everybody, so that's a lot better than the last I was getting 2 weeks in a row prior to this.
No, you did good. You spent a lot of the night mixing and matching teams.
I was really overthinking it.
You did, but it paid off.
Kinda. I think if I had calculated it correctly, if I hadn't used the wild card and I had just switched out two I actually might have done better if I had kept. So what I ended up doing, I guess
Read it
I
off.
should read it off, is I have Oscar Piastri as my number one, which breaks my heart because that means I had to say goodbye to Charles Leclerc. Um, let's see, and then I was a little risky. I took Yuki Tsunoda for his first week in the Red Bull,
Mm-hmm.
um, which didn't pay off as it turns out, but that's okay. Hindsight. Hajar, Doohan, Behrman, but then my constructors being McLaren and Aston Martin. So it's like a pretty much only Isaac. Well, I guess technically Yuki too are carried over, but I had to transfer Yuki out because he was on a different team.
Yeah.
And so that was my winning strategy this week, was just going full force McLaren.
And it paid
As you can
off.
see,
They're
it did.
clearly the best team out there, and then Max is the best driver. So, from a fantasy perspective, my team is Max Verstappen, the number 1 driver.
Yeah,
Put my DRS boost on him, and then
always.
I have the McLaren team. So then I think I have the top with that. I have the top 3 drivers covered, and then 90% of my points come from those 2 people, or the team,
Just the constructor and Max.
constructor and Max.
McLaren and Max.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
It was 72 points and then 77 points, and that's
Jeez,
it's like
Louise.
140 of my 160.
Yeah, and I only had 149 points total.
Right.
So
Right. So I think that's the meta. I don't know, but
however, that is banking on Max making history, basically, because
yeah,
that's what he had to do at this Japanese
yeah,
Grand Prix.
that he has to pull something out that like we've never seen before.
Right. So, well, and I guess that is to say that Austin is our winner this week
Yeah.
of the Fantasy League. How does it feel?
It feels like, because I haven't changed my team much, it was the core philosophy of having McLaren as a team,
Mm-hmm.
because they have the 2 most consistent drivers, and then Max being the best. And then it didn't pan out the first 2 weeks, but this is kind of like validating that like this is how I expected most of the season to go.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's still a long season. This was the most straightforward race. It was dry, no safety cars.
In the race itself,
in the
there were
race.
a bunch of safety cars in
Practice.
practices. So I'm surprised. it was looking like it could have been more interesting with the potential for rain, with the potential for the fires causing red flags, but none of that actually ended up
Yeah,
happening in the race itself.
and everybody finished the race.
Yeah,
There was only 4 times last year where everybody finished.
that's crazy.
So nothing extracurricular from the race from,
And
to excite the
right,
race.
and for all intents and purposes, the top people ended where they started.
Right. So it's a very hard track to pass. Um, yeah, Max did a great job, and he was able to hold off both the McLarens. It's probably debatable how much pace Piastri had versus Norris, but
Well, he had
in the
more.
end, it's this. Yeah, I guess
He
right, but
did. He was getting fastest laps.
yeah, but anyway, we're
But how does it feel to be
yeah, it
the
feels good.
champion?
Like, is it validating? Yeah, it feels
Yeah,
good. Yeah, I would hope so. We've spent the most time w- analyzing this stuff
sure.
that you would hope you come out with
Yeah, you
a
would
good
hope,
result.
but then what happens is that you're hosting a podcast about F1 fantasy and then you score 9 points total for the whole
Yeah, but
season.
you don't expect it to rain and
Yeah,
to for people to crash into walls on outlaps and all kinds of crazy stuff that happened in the
sure.
first 2 races.
And the
So,
DQs and
right, and the DQs. So it's,
so it is kind of funny. I want to point out our strategies are very different. You have stuck to your guns, kind of
mhm,
kept your core team. I
yep.
panicked.
Yeah, and it paid off. I think you needed to.
Sure.
'Cause do you wanna talk about the Ferraris and just how disappointing they really are this early stage?
Not that bad though, because Charles was right. I mean, he wasn't right there. He was quite the pack difference between the top three and the rest of the field
Right.
was immense. But Charles got fourth. That's not bad. That's not bad. But they're
No,
not
but
they're
he's
not in
miles
it
off from the
with.
McLarens.
But so is the Red Bull.
Right, but okay, so Ferrari's not in this sport for 4th place. They're in it to win races and to win championships. So anything less than that is a disappointment. You have the 7-time world champion, I believe it's 7 with Lewis Hamilton, and you have maybe one of the hottest drivers. So anything less than victories is a massive disappointment, I think.
Yeah.
That's the standard that Ferrari needs to be held to. So,
I mean, yeah. Fair.
right?
I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
But it's not like this is out of the wheelhouse of how Ferrari does things. I feel like sometimes they have I think last year was even a testament to this as well.
Mhm.
They didn't start so great, but they ended up like almost being
Yeah.
in the constructors.
Yeah.
So, maybe we just got to settle in. We're only 3 races in. It's a
Yeah.
long season. But yeah, I mean it's definitely not the performance you would hope for. I think Hamilton ended what, 8th, 7th,
Right.
maybe. Um, qualified behind Hajar, which is
Which this is I'm a big Hadjar fan, and I
this
think
house. In this house, we are Hajar stands for sure.
I've convinced you to join the Hadjar train as well.
I don't know if I needed much convincing.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I think he's really fast over 1 lap qualifying. Let's see if he can put something together over the course of a race to like get really good points.
Well,
Did he finish 7th, I think? So,
yeah,
you know,
8th, I think actually, but
8th. Yeah, but
because Hamilton did end up passing him.
okay. But, you know, I think he's he's really good.
Really impressive. I mean, especially compared to the people who have been in that second seat in the Racing Bulls. Lawson,
Yeah, I mean,
not
well,
good. Did not do great.
he'll need some time. He's flip-flopping between cars, and, if you think he didn't do good, is that who your biggest bust is? Like,
Yeah,
do you
we'll
wanna
get
do
there.
booms and
No,
busts?
not yet, not yet, not yet. Because there's some other things
What do
to,
we
to
need to
touch
cover?
on here. Well, I was just the strategies that we're both employing for the fantasy team itself, you, which you're pulling on a lot of fantasy knowledge for
For
your.
fantasy football stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I am a multiple time champion in my fantasy football league. Um, so yeah, I know my way around fantasy sports.
This is such a different fantasy sport than anything else, though. To be fair,
It I think it's very similar. Like you can do a ton of research and a ton of spend time, checking drivers or play if it's a football players and seeing their mental state, really look into it way too much and then on race day just have them like it be unlucky.
fair.
So in a way it's a lot like fantasy football. where there's a ton of luck involved as well.
Right. Well, you were telling me not to panic this early on, being only 3 races in. I did anyway.
Yeah,
Like that was your advice to me, was to maybe not panic and completely change my entire team. Though I think I had to. I think it was okay, but um, I was losing the joy of it a little bit, just because I really want to still be able to be in contention for the
yeah,
season, and I'm still dead last, but
and
we're climbing our way back up.
yeah,
We're back. We are so back, baby.
and we do have a head to head. Me and you,
Yes.
we're tracking that.
Yeah, we
I'm
forgot to
ahead.
mention that.
Yeah, we did, but just so we're keeping score of
Just between the two of
between
us,
the two of
not the
us,
the whole league.
and who's ahead of that? It's been a while since I've checked the.
Are you kidding me? You're
No, I don't
so
know.
rude. You don't know who's ahead in the head to head?
I need to hear you say it.
Austin Brass.
Okay.
I scored 2 points in the first race. I think you beat that. I scored 7 in the second.
I know.
However, this week was a lot closer. I was
It
only like
was.
5 points behind. So, improvement. That was, you were telling me not to panic just so you would continue to win.
No, no, no.
Yes.
No.
No, it's 3-0. You've
Okay.
won 3 to mine 0.
Right.
Does that feel good?
Yeah. But
I'm not bitter.
you have Piastri and I have Max. So
Yeah.
I feel like the difference between our teams is the main difference. Obviously, the other drivers that we have, one of them could give us serious negative points one race,
Yeah.
and that throws it out of whack. But it'll come down to, for me and you, Max versus Piastri. And
Unless Yuki really starts to show out.
yeah, right. And that's another wild card that you have that
Yeah.
I don't really have. I just have those two, Max and then McLaren, and then a bunch of drivers like Fernando Alonso, Hadjar,
Ones who might not even be scoring points
but they
at
won't give
all.
me they're good drivers, and
Yeah.
they're not going to get me negatives. You'd
Well,
hope.
and something that I had to take into consideration now too is, like, even if someone qualifies in 15th, I think you get negative points if you don't make it out of Q3.
Mm,
So, or Q1.
Q1,
Yeah.
yeah.
But like, say your driver's in 14th, as long as they don't lose positions, and if they gain, so you start 14th, you end like 12th, you actually get points for that. Even if they're not scoring points in the drivers' championship itself.
Yeah.
So that is something to consider too. Is that you don't even need to prioritize point scorers. You need to prioritize consistent drivers.
Yeah.
Which sounds obvious, but it was something I kind of forgot about, that like I was assuming if you're not in the top 10, it doesn't really matter, when it does.
And that's the same for other fantasy sports as well.
Mm.
There's more consistent people that might not have as great upside, but their floor is not as bad.
To be fair, you mentioned Fernando Alonso, who is someone that has not been very consistent so far this year.
They
But
one race in Australia where he didn't perform well. So, and then the next race was a mechanical failure.
Yeah.
So, like,
fair,
what can you do?
Yeah, that is fair. That is
Okay.
fair.
Booms and busts.
So, well, I just wanted to do a quick review of the league itself. So,
Mhm.
Austin and I, we are back. We officially can continue this podcast because we are not losing in our
Right.
own fantasy league. So
We dug deep and we pulled some great teams.
we are
together this
once
week.
again qualified to speak on the matter.
Yes.
No, we're not. Actually, we still aren't. So yeah, you got first, I got second. I don't know, I saw a few YouTube videos, is in third.
Nice.
I overtook that position there, so that was nice. Strangely enough, though, our season winner, so overall winner of the season so far, is Lollipop Man, who got last this week.
Wow.
So hopefully that levels the playing field a little bit. And not to call anybody out or anything, but just so you guys know, if you are taking more than your allotted transfers for the week, you're taking penalty points.
You're only allowed to switch two
You
people
can
out.
only switch 2 people each week, unless you don't switch people, in which they do build up over time.
To how many? Just as much as
As
you
many.
can?
So say you don't use any transfers one week and you have those 2 transfers, they're going to carry over. So
Yeah.
next week you'll have 4. So if you do want to switch out a lot of people, you could use the wild card like I did, and you can do unlimited transfers, or just wait a week or 2 and don't take the penalty points, because
Mhm.
that, I think, is really what
No, it's not worth it.
bit some of you guys in the butt this week, was that Some of y'all took a lot of penalty points. And also make sure you switch out inactive drivers. If you had Yuki on your team, you also took penalty points for that, which is kind of rude. That's a
Yeah.
new thing this year, where if you don't switch out an inactive driver, you get more penalty points.
Yeah.
Even though I think having an inactive driver should be punishment enough in and
Yeah.
of itself. But anyway, so that's that. I think our season standings haven't changed too much. But like you said, we're only 3 races in, and it's we've got like 21 more.
Yeah.
So
A ton.
yeah, I am still in last.
But you've so many races left.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
All right then. So yeah,
Okay.
booms and busts. Do you want to start with bust or boom?
Boom.
Okay, who was your boom?
Max.
Yeah,
Max Verstappen.
I
It's
was
got
gonna
to
say
be.
the same thing.
I mean, okay, so that's yours as well.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
You're right.
It hurts me to say this. He made history.
Yeah, I
He
guess.
literally made history. Fastest lap time in qualifying
Oh,
ever.
yeah. Exactly.
I'm not joking. Like,
and he's won this track 4 times in a row now.
Yep.
So he's been absolutely dominant at this track. He gets more out of the car than anybody else, and he risks more. And he gets a big reward for it. So, I can't. Yeah, Max Verstappen, easy boom. Anybody else, I think it's wrong.
Which is wild. I want to point out, though, it is wild that Max Verstappen in this day and age can be a boom, because usually a boom is someone you don't expect to do as good as they do. And it's because he's fighting against that car.
Yeah, with that car. Yeah. And he's being chased down by 2 McLarens
Right.
the entire race. And it's going to be that way this entire season, is where he's just being hunted down, and he's not doing much of the hunting, but just trying to hold. And yeah, we'll see. But Max Verstappen, boom, race winner, should get driver of the day. But I don't even think driver of the day. Who did get driver of the day? Was it Bearman?
It was Yuki.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, see, these
the
don't.
Japanese fans.
I know, but these don't make any sense.
No, they don't, because Yuki didn't do great.
No.
I mean, he did make some positions up, so he did end up scoring me a couple points. Okay. He started really far back, though. That was a shame. Like, he didn't even make it out of Q1, did he?
No, he did. He did.
He did?
He did.
Okay. Anyway.
Barely.
Yeah, but Verstappen was also my boom. I mean, if you see the interview of Fernando Alonso after the race, I mean, Fernando's obviously been in the sport a really long time, so to have his high opinion being like, wow, that's impressive. Like,
he said no one else can do it.
Right. No one else can do it but Max. He is, like, despite a car that doesn't serve him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you would wonder what the hell would happen if he ended up in a McLaren. Like, that would be scary.
I still think that the second Red Bull team might be faster. Like,
really?
I don't know. You can't tell me that it might not be.
I mean, with Hadjar being a rookie and ending in 8th
in the points as a rookie.
To be fair, he is pretty familiar with this track, from what I remember. He's raced this track in other formulas before, and it's one of his favorites. So he is really familiar with it. But you're right. Still, he outdid Yuki.
Okay. All right, busts. Who do you have?
You go.
I'm gonna go. Since I did it to Lawson, I have to do it to Yuki as well.
Dang, yeah.
I 2 races into the season, I gave Liam Lawson a bust last race, and then they replaced him, and I have to hold that same standard for the second Red Bull seat, and that's Yuki Tsunoda. And he's even had more experience than Liam Lawson, so he, if anything, he should be even held to a higher standard than Liam Lawson. So I get it. It's a tough car to drive, but I think you still have to get into Q3. Like, that's the standard. Get into Q3, and then try to fight with one of the top teams.
Yeah.
Don't be fighting with the teams in the back, the Haas's, the Alpines, the Williams. Like, don't be fighting with them. That's not your race. You shouldn't be there. You have to be up there. And it's one thing if Red Bull replaced another rookie in this seat, and this is their first time back, but no, the Yuki Tsunoda has been around since 2021 at least. he should be able to jump in that car and do better. So first race, you get a leeway, but doesn't you definitely have a long he definitely has a long leash. He'll have the whole season, but he gets the bust from
Is he
me.
expected to do better in that though? Because he did do better than people who have been in that seat prior.
Maybe. No, Checo towards the end there, obviously Checo's not performing, but Checo is winning races in that second Red Bull seat.
Not with the car that it is now.
Not what it is now, but that's what it can do. If
Sure.
it's capable of winning races, Max just won. So
Yeah, but Max is Max, right?
right, but he has to be up there. There's no excuse.
I think there kind of is though.
There's not.
I think there
What's
is.
your excuse then?
Well, the excuse is that previous to this, Lawson was literally like getting last place. Yuki got 12.
It was 2 races. He got 2
Yeah.
races. One
And
was
Checo before then was getting last place. Like I feel like it's I don't know.
one was in the right, one was in the wet for Liam Lawson, and he got one dry race to compare himself to. It's not comparable.
There was a bit of bad luck though. I think with Yuki. I think in qualifying he had to abandon one of his fast laps and that really screwed him over. I don't know. I'm still holding out hope just because Yuki looked really good in the practices.
Yeah, but doesn't mean he's not a bust. Like this race. Not saying he'll be a bust overall. I think that's what you're
Did
thinking
you
of.
give Liam a bust the first race of the season?
No, because there was plenty of people to give busts to the first
Okay,
race.
fair, but like with the track record of this car, it is impossible. It's an impossible. So the fact he was actually able to put it in 12 is something, I think. Which sounds weird because Red Bull's standard should be higher, but that is the reality of where that car is right now. Is that 12th is maybe kind of impressive, especially for his first time in the car. I don't know. Like I was debating Yuki being a bust too because I was hoping he would do better.
Where's this Yuki apologist coming from?
I just think no, I just think it's like we can't be holding that second seat to the standard of Max yet. Because Max has been in that car for so long, and the way of his driving
Okay.
style is so suited
All right,
to
go to your bus now.
come on, is so suited. His driving style is so suited to it. The car itself. Nobody else has been able to find that. Well, my bus then was Liam.
See, that's pathetic.
He got 17th.
he's virtually a rookie. He's had like 13 races.
That
And okay.
so is Hajar.
Okay. Right, but
That's why it's a bust for me. Hajar?
Hajar had preseason testing and 2 races before this to get into that car. This is his first time in a car this season. It's a new car. Okay, it's fine.
Wait,
If you
but
wanna give him
you could say the same thing about Yuki.
right. But he's been around longer. I'm saying Lawson
Okay.
only has 13 races to his belt.
Do you know where Lawson ended,
Total,
babe?
like 17th or something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. What does it matter? You're outside the points.
I don't know. That's just
That's fine. Who else could be contention?
Let me give my bust.
Give
It's
him to
just
him.
because
Give it to him.
Hajar, like, they're both rookies. Hajar and Liam are both rookies.
Yeah.
And you're right. Okay, Hajar did get season testing, blah, 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 blah. But I think Liam's a bust for me because of how much he's hyping himself up to be like, I'm this guy. Like, I'm that guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm aggressive. It's you see him in Drive to Survive being like, it's so sad to see people like not performing in a car, and then he's not doing like
All right.
that's the thing.
All right.
And so then for him to be in that same car with another rookie, Liam has had more experience than this other rookie in Formula One. That rookie, 8th. Him, 17th.
I know.
That's insane.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm kind of jumping on the Liam hate train a little bit.
Yeah.
Not hate, but like, he was a little big for his britches. That's
Yeah,
all.
it was. But
That is all.
he's a Formula One driver.
To be fair, it was the booms and busts are kind of hard this week when not a whole lot happened.
Everybody finishes the race.
Right.
Right. We have to be
So-
really picky.
Yeah. I mean, Stroll.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He got last. Alonso got 11th.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's pretty embarrassing. What happened? Strategy? They had him on the softs, didn't they? They did 2-stop.
I don't remember.
I do. Anyway, I think that's what
It
was
was
going on
late,
there.
and I was falling asleep
That was a hard one to stay up for. It was 1 in the morning over
because
here when it
nothing's
started,
happening.
and nothing was happening. So
The race at the front was good, but other than that, it was yeah,
the race at the front wasn't good. There was really nothing happening. I do think they should have released Piastri,
yeah.
but I guess that's up for debate.
All right, on to next week.
Yeah,
Where are we
next
at?
week, hopefully a much more exciting race. It's shaping up to be. So we're in Bahrain next week, and this track specifically is known for much more overtaking than we got to see this week. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we've got a little bit more fight going on, um, some good overtaking. It's a night race though, so that'll be
Fun.
interesting. That is always fun. The issue though with that is that Bahrain desert temperature fluctuations.
Mm,
So we've got some practices that are happening during the daytime where it's going to be seemingly pretty hot. Tires are going to be much different than they'll be in the evening when it starts to get colder.
mm-hmm.
So um, FP1 and FP3 are both happening in the daytime. So I don't know if any of the data from that is going to be super helpful. Um, they're going to be a lot faster then than they will be when it's colder at nighttime.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. Last year, Max won this race. So
Nice.
we'll see if that happens again. And do you know who got second?
Lando Norris.
Checo.
Oh,
This was
see,
still the beginning of the season.
see, there you go. See, it's literally not too far into history.
Shoot.
You don't have to go too far back to see Checo right there with Max. Yeah, you're only as good as your most recent race, sure, but how quickly we forgot how good Checo was. So
Yeah, it's a brutal sport.
yeah,
But then I don't even want to talk about who got third last year.
Charles.
Carlos.
Oh, see, yeah,
I'm never going to be able to call Carlos a bust. I never will be able to do it.
could have done it this week.
I no, I can't. I just can't. I can't. It literally breaks my heart every time
This
I
is
see
not
him.
a rational podcast. It
No,
will be
no. I
irrational
mean,
opinions.
I've told you about how sad I am to see him in
Yeah,
the position that he's in. He I don't know, debatably could have been that second seat for Red Bull. That would have been much better.
hmm
What do you think? Do you think he would have performed well in that car?
yes, yeah. I mean, he would have been the best option. But I think the reason why we're going on a tangent here, but the reason why is because there was questions about how well he would get along with Max.
Do you think he would have not wanted to be a second
Right,
to Max?
right. And Red Bull's clearly a one driver team, so
Yeah,
that's why.
that is fair. No, I just haven't touched on my sadness, my Carlos
I
sadness,
know.
my depression era of I don't want to see him fade into obscurity. Um, though hopefully, like we'll see. Hopefully, I don't know if Hamilton doesn't have too much longer. That sounds really dark. I don't mean like he's gonna die. I just mean like he's gonna retire soon.
Yeah,
um, like seemingly that was the plan, right? Is that he'll get another world championship and then like be out of here.
yeah.
So if that happens anytime soon, maybe Carlos can slot back into there. But I don't know. It's
Okay.
just really hard to see him.
I'm burning up in this hoodie.
Oh
Can
no,
we
that's why you're
conclude? Yeah.
okay. Um, just like I don't know. I was gonna try to make a
Oh, what?
connection to burning up in the hoodie to like just like George Russell in.
Oh, like the grass at the.
Oh yeah, there we go.
We're burning like the grass. The grass burned at the racetrack. That's what.
That feels like it needs a little explanation. That was only in free practices, so there were like 4 red flags in free practice because
Because the
grass,
sparks on the car were lighting the grass,
the
which
grass
was
just
dry.
kept catching on fire. So that was
Yeah.
craziness. All right, well then let's cool you down. Let's get the fire marshals in here
Alright,
to.
bye. There we go.
All right. So update your stuff before next week for the Bahrain GP, keeping in mind overtakes and temperature fluctuations. That's my advice.
Good job.
All right, and the lap has been formed.